So today I'm teaching you one of my favorite unique tricks. It's globally known as the bubble flip, and it looks a little something like this. Let's get into the tutorial. So the foot position for this trick is by far the most important thing. So do not take what I say here and then think you'll just try and throw your own twist on it, because the foot position matters more than anything. Let's get into it. So this is the front of my board, and my front foot is going to be sitting on the board, covering the first two bolts here just slightly. So it's almost covering the floor, but not quite. The back foot is the most important by far. Now, normally when I teach someone this trick and I say put your foot here, as soon as I leave them to their own attempts, the foot is all of a sudden back here. I think that's instinctively because for a trick, you usually want to put your foot on the tail, but for this one, you want to have your foot as close to the middle as possible. That's because if we're pulling the board back, like I showed you at the start, it's got to be done from the middle. If you do it from here, you've got far too much to push over. So the closer to the middle you have this leg, the easier it's going to be to get the form of the trick. The further you have it towards the tail, the harder it's going to be, and the more you have to lift the leg up. And it makes it a lot more difficult, and it just doesn't look as good. So back foot, not quite dead in the middle, but almost in the middle. And the front foot on the front two bolts, just like this. Now this foot here, the ball of your foot right on the tip of your toes there is going to be sitting like this on the board. So this is my back foot, this is my front foot. The ball of my foot on the back is going to be sitting on the very edge of the board. So where the concave starts, about here, you're going to be sitting with your toe there. That's so you can put your weight onto this part of your foot to pull the board back, and at that same time this foot gets it back over again. So you pull the board back and then instantly, super quick, you push it over, so it does that. All this foot does is jump and get us out of the way. So we've got our front foot covering the bolts almost, we've got our back foot near the middle. What we do then is as we jump up with this one, this leg pulls the board towards us and at the same time pushes it over. A real quick way to show that is feet in position, pull over and do that. That's exactly what the bubble flip is. Just slowed down a little bit so you can see it better. So now that we're aware of the form of the trick using my hands in my shoes, what we're going to do now is try and do it with our foot in the shoe, believe it or not. So we're going to not worry about the front foot for now. The back foot is about near the middle of the board where I just showed you, and I'm going to try and do that foot movement just with this foot. So pull back, and then immediately once you're here, you're bringing this leg over this way. So it does that and the board comes over. So pull towards you and then over. This is the exact foot position right here. Pull towards you and then over. Pull towards you and then over. All the front foot does is jump and get out of the way. So just bring this knee up and you should have that out of the way nice and easy. If I was to show you without the board, it would look like this. Kind of hard to use that as I'm now thinking about it, but we'll put another one in just in case. So pulls down, back and over, and this one just comes up. So, see that? That might not help. So another way we can practice landing back on the board is by doing the motion. Try and do it fast as well, because I've shown you it slowly, but we ideally have to do it as quick as possible with that back foot, and it will look like this when you do. So it doesn't hit the floor at all. It just immediately comes back over. And it kind of like wraps around your foot and never loses contact, like you can see here. If you'll notice, the foot never loses contact with the board. You'll get a bunch of sketchy ones at first, but you want to make sure you put the weight on the ball of the foot, pull it back, push it over, and you should end up with something like this. Now we need to get the commitment down. So now all we need to do is add commitment. I would say let's do it stationary first and then we'll add a bit of speed, but to be honest, the speed does help with the momentum of the board spinning. But first of all, we're going to stick our board down, use everything we've learned so far with the back foot and the front foot, and then we're just going to jump up and hopefully we can get it all back under our feet in time. Like that. You're going to have a few where you just bounce off like that because of a mismatch of balance, but after a little while, you should end up with something like this. Now all we need to do is get it moving. So once you're here, you've learned the bulk of the trick. All we need to do now is practice. If you don't feel like you can get a moving one yet, practice it stationary a whole bunch until you can land on the board almost every time. Then once you've got that, you're ready to add the speed and momentum. Start fairly slow, everything like I told you. You'll step off once or twice. I'll act like that was on purpose. Then once you've completed your mission and earned your trick, you should end up with something like this.